Hey, we're all busy, but this is the Home Buyer Seminar. We stop everything and get together with you in mind, helping you buy your first home or your next home. I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Probate on social media, along with my good friend and colleague,
Patricia Castillo.
and our good friend and lender,
Shannon the lender.
And we get together and talk about buying your next home or your first home. I don't know about you, for all the talk in the news, I'm busy. I got phone calls. I got escrows closing. I got escrows opening. How about you, Patricia? Where's the market for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before we started recording, we were just talking about, sometimes listings they're super hot and you get a lot of showings. You get multiple offers, and then for some reason the buyer doesn't follow through, right? So that happened on one of my listings, but I'm excited because it seems like we have a very serious buyer. And so I'm looking forward to closing this one at one of the listings I had in Lancaster. So I'm excited about that one. But, every week since I listed the property, there's been showings, I would say every other day. So that's just how active the market is, especially in some areas, like Lancaster, that would have like first time buyer price points and even just a little bit lower. A lot of people that are downsizing that can't really afford, to live in, let's say, like city of LA, but they're in LA County by moving out to Lancaster. So you're like 40 miles north of LA. But you can get a nice home out there for under 400,000. 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, plenty of space outside to sit outside and have your cup of coffee. So I've definitely had a lot of activity on this listing. Unfortunately, the other buyers were not really that serious. They made an offer and they ended up just going MIA. But I've seen that happen in other areas too, where their price points are much higher. And some agents have called me on a couple of luxury homes that I showed and asking me if I'm writing an offer or not.
Share a couple. What kind of homes?
Luxury homes.
Oh, excuse me.
So,
Excuse me. Sorry, but I had to interrupt you there with your bougie luxury home business.
I mean, it's happening at all different price points, but it's a busy market, I would say. It's there's a lot of people that are out there looking, and as a listing agent, you really have to be very focused on trying to do as much homework you can on the buyer to see, their seriousness. And if we follow through with escrow, they're going to end up disappearing on you.
Right. I just got an offer today from some guy. Of course, the company they give you all the credentials and all kinds of deals they've closed and all kinds of stuff. And I just ask a simple question: have you or the buyer seen the house? Well, no. We want to get the offer accepted first. I'm like, well, now I'm smart enough. I've put in the MLS now, and in my contracts, my sellers don't authorize me. I will not accept an offer where the buyer and agent haven't seen the property. Now, there's exceptions to that, but as a general default. And the agents get very upset because they just want to tie the property up and then tour it and then nitpick the deal and negotiate the price from there, which, of course, that's not what we want to do. We want to get motivated buyers who are drooling over the property, crawling over each other, bidding a higher price. So it's, these agents sometimes, I think the dishonest ones assume everybody's stupid. And I just want to say, I'm not the guy you're going to fool with this little game. But anyhow, and that's why on the flip side, when you are a legitimate buyer, you really want to buy a house, to work with your agent, work with the loan officer. And then their job is to call the listing agent and try to sell them on accepting your offer. That's part of the job. And that's the difference between those who are successful and those who are struggling right now, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would agree.
Shannon, how often do you talk to the listing agent when you make offers on purchase deals? Is that a standard practice? Are listing agents interested in talking to you when they consider offers? Do you ever get offers accepted where you haven't talked to the listing agent?
Yeah, I mean, I have gotten offers accepted without talking to the listing agent, but I would say on more competitive properties, I do talk to them. And it's mainly, honestly, the buyer's agent. Depending on how they work, I have to really go based on their speed. So there's some that they submit the offer, they do everything kind of without me, and they let me know, hey, offer is accepted. And some that they do CC on me on the offer, anytime they CC me, I pretty much call the agent right away and let them know, hey, this is who I am. This is a little bit about the buyer, things like that. So it really, honestly, boils down to the agent, right? The agent that the buyer picks, because I'm their backup, right? They're the quarterback. I'm supposed to catch the ball once they do have that accepted offer. So,
but you strike me like that wide receiver diva who says, "Hey, throw me the ball. I'm open on every play." Is that you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I want it. I want the ball. That's what I'm like.
Yeah, and so I think that's the thing that sometimes I'm in the same boat as a real estate agent. I work a lot with attorneys, and like just literally today, I was talking to an attorney that Patricia knows. I don't want to say his name, but we're trying to get some documents filed, and I'm following up, and I'm getting an email response. For usually give attorneys 2 days. That's how long they take. And so I called him this morning, and he called me back. Very polite. And he said, "Yeah, we're working on it, and we'll get you a copy or whatever." But it's like, I'm pushing. I am that diva wide receiver. Throw me the ball, get the paperwork filed. And I said, I don't mean to be rude, and I don't mean to be a pest, but my client pays me to sell their house, so I'm pushing you to get this done. And I think that in your case also, your buyer, selects the lender to, get the house. They don't just want to fill out the application and do all the paperwork. They really want the house. Then the buyer's agent should hope that you're aggressive and pushing to talk to the listing agent, I would think. Patricia, what do you think? You ever have a loan officer call you and annoy you by trying to promote his buyer?
Yes. I mean, I have not on every, it's funny. It really depends who you're working with. I think the loan officers and the buyer's agents that are really following through are going to call, right? At least to introduce themselves and say, "Hey, Bill, I just sent you an offer. I want to let you know who I am, where I work out of, and a little bit of background on me." So I usually do that if I'm representing a buyer. I don't really get that all the time on the offers that I get. I would say probably maybe 50% will call me and say, "Hey, I just sent you an offer," or the loan agent will call, but I just get an email, and when we have a conversation, it's because I'm calling them. But I definitely prefer it the other way around because it just shows the dedication and the professionalism as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. One thing I try to always get is why, why are you guys buying? What's the story? Because what I found out is listing agents that hear from me a little bit more about the buyer outside of the numbers for some reason makes a big difference. So, hey, I always try to ask the buyers, "Hey, why are you doing this? What's the reason behind it? Are you guys have kids? Is new family, downsizing, upgrading? What is that?" So that way, when I'm talking to the listing agent, I can not only tell them numbers wise that they qualify, but also a little bit about the family and why they're doing this. And if it's coming from the lender as well, it goes a long way.
Yeah. I yesterday was at an interesting event in Irvine. The National Reverse Mortgage Lenders Association had a regional event in Irvine. And one of the things that they talked about was what they call H4P, which is a HECM mortgage. It's an FHA loan used for purchase. And it really only applies if a senior, 62 or older, I think that's the age, is going to buy a property. Otherwise, for cash, the idea is, well, hey, rather than use all your cash, why not either you can buy more by getting this mortgage or borrow a mortgage against the equity of the house and keep the cash in your pocket. It's funny. I just don't see, I see cash offers, but I've never seen an offer with a reverse mortgage up front. To me, it just seems like a natural tool that should be investigated and used on. Do you have any experience in doing reverse mortgages for purchase as opposed to refinance?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I personally haven't either.
I think it's a very specialized product, and because it's FHA, it's like doing an FHA loan. Either you're an FHA lender or you're not. I think with reverse mortgages, either you are or you're not with the FHA loans. But I think it's an interesting topic to look into. That if I was a real estate agent, I would look into it for sure to see if I could find a way just to be something different, for cash buyers. I personally, we're not moving anytime soon because my wife. I could if I got divorced. I just can't afford to move and to get divorced. That would be too expensive. But I can qualify for the loan and the taxes and the insurance. I can't qualify for that and the attorney's fees to get divorced and then the humiliation of being divorced with my wife and daughter and all that. But that said, I fantasize about moving to Florida. We have enough money where I could buy without selling in Florida up to maybe $500,000-$600,000, which isn't much where I want to buy. But with a reverse mortgage, I can get another $300,000. So now I'm looking at $800,000 to $900,000. Well, that opens up a lot more options. So I'm thinking buyers coming in here kind of same situation. If somebody's selling a house and moving to Lancaster, Palmdale, they can pay cash, but they also get a reverse mortgage for a couple $100,000 and keep that cash in their pocket. So something to look into. What else is going on? If you read the real estate news today, you would think every buyer is sitting at home crumbled into a fetal position crying about the uncertainty of the marketplace. I don't see that. I don't see people really paying that much attention to it. I think that's just more the news people are all they're writing about something, so they're going to write about that. Do you see customers really concerned about, obviously rates go up or down, the stock market goes up or down a bit, it's been volatile, but do you really see people not buying or not selling as a result of the economic uncertainty right now?
No, in fact, I see a lot of buyers that are still out there looking at homes. Every weekend, I have quite a few. Shannon and I just pre-qualified, or I should say Shannon did, but and this was a buyer that called me on one of my listings and said, I've been wanting to buy a house. I just don't know where to start. And a couple of other places I called, they just wouldn't, they wouldn't give her the time of the day. They wouldn't help her. So we haven't even met her in person. We've just been talking to her on the phone, but she was, she trusted us and sent in all her documentation, got pre-qualified. So it's that simple. Like as soon as you reach out to us and just say that you're interested in knowing more information, we provide that to you immediately. And so Shannon turned around the loan approval, and I've sent her some properties to start looking at. But I have a lot of people that have been calling me interested in getting started, pre-qualified, whether they're now buyers or 3 or 6 months out. But I feel like the market is definitely picking up from like January and February.
Yeah, same. And maybe because I have a little bit of biased view, because obviously when you call me, it's for usually you're ready to go, but I don't see a lot of hesitation. I do see people that, which, understandably, they think they can buy a little bit more than they anticipated, which is normal, but at least, hey, this is what my purchasing power is. And that's, instead of being in la la land and looking at homes on Zillow or going to open houses, at least, hey, this is what I can qualify for right now. And then either let's go with it or create a game plan on, hey, how do we get you qualified for more? And I'm also seeing a lot of raises. People are getting raises. At least the ones who have the jobs, they're getting raises, and I'm seeing a good amount of that too. So, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, inflationary times, everything's going up in price, including people getting raises as part of it. And second, I think the other thing I try to explain to people is in our real estate market, out of 350 million Americans, only 5 million buy houses every year. So it could be 200 million people are literally on the floor, fetal position, crying about the economy. But if 7 million go out looking for houses, there's only 5 million houses going to be sold. So it's really the people who want to buy. And it's sad to say it's not for everybody, but it went from when I started this business, it was for everybody, to it's not for everybody today in this economy where we are right now. Anybody can do it over time, but they can't necessarily buy a house today. And I'd love to help people get themselves ready over time. But so when you see the economic news, there's always winners and losers. And the winners are the ones who are buying houses, and the losers need to get a plan together to become a winner, I think is the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Right. And what I mentioned to buyers is that if you look at the market in the last 10 years, the trajectory is upwards. You see the prices going upwards.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I tell the buyers that are thinking of waiting, I ask them, what are you waiting for exactly? Well, for prices to go down. Okay, but when have you seen prices go down in the last 10 years? They've been steadily increasing between 3 and 6%. So if you wait, you're going to pay the same price next year for the same house you would have bought this year. Right. So those are conversations that I've had with buyers lately. And after I show them the information, then it starts to click, starts to make sense. It's not just coming from a realtor that's trying to sell you a house, but this is actually educational. This is where the market is at today and where it's been the last 10 years. I don't see the price going down. They might be softening a little bit where they're not actually appreciating like during the, the pandemic. But the listings I'm seeing are mostly selling at the asking price or slightly above.
My biggest problem is I had a property we listed that sold for so much over the list price that it's embarrassing to me and for my attorney client. That's literally my biggest problem right now. I feel like I'm really working to regain his confidence, and I still have it, but it's a one-time thing, and we did everything properly, and I didn't represent the buyer double-ended or something, but it is so much over the list price that it was just shocking. Like what the heck? But whatever, it's kind of how it goes. Yeah, that's I think that's the experience right now. There are people looking and there are people not. Some people in some areas, housing prices are going down a little bit, but overall, it's not the case. And I will say one other thing: having been in the business when housing prices went down, my whole career from '86 until that time in 2008, there were people who said, "I'll buy when houses go down." When houses went down in price, they didn't buy because it was a terrible time to buy because everybody's getting foreclosed on. The people made money, bought then, and paid cash or put 50% down and stuck through it and made a fortune when the housing market turned around. But the truth is, the same buyer who today says, I'm not going to buy because I'm waiting for prices to go down, will never buy when the price is down. They're just never going to buy a house. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I do mean to kind of get people's attention. Hey, this is an opportunity. It's a long game plan, not a short game plan. And even if you had bought in 2010 before housing prices went down, you still would be ahead today significantly. Now, maybe not as much as if you bought Bitcoin or as if you bought Google stock, but you'd still be ahead of the game. And tax-wise, you'd be ahead because you don't pay any taxes on the property until you sell it, and even then you can defer it. So,
yeah, that's right. It's just about getting started. It's kind of scary. I think a lot of, especially first-time buyers, they're afraid to take on that commitment because it is a commitment for the next 30 years or however soon you pay off the property. Yeah. But if you need a place to live and you need a roof over your head, it's definitely something to look into and start creating that wealth for your family.
For your family. Speaking of which, Shannon, newlywed, still same low rates now that you're married, or do you raise your rates because you're married now?
I don't know. I mean, I think I just quoted FHA right now, 5.875. So,
ooh, that sounds cheap to me.
Yeah.
When's the last time you quoted us below 6?
Below 6?
Before that one, when's the last time you quoted somebody before 6 on FHA?
Maybe like a few weeks ago when they just started going down. And I mean, they're going down, they're going up, so it could change next week. I could quote them a 6.2. So it's a kind of volatile market right now, to be honest with you. It's not, there's not a straight line right now.
Got it.
At all.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're gonna get into it, you want to play the game to win. Be ready to go. Get your paperwork in. Be ready to lock in. Keep your commitment if you get locked in. Those are all the key points in a volatile market. So
exactly. Don't look at that. That's one mistake, and I'll end with that. Is some people look at the news. Oh, the rates are going down, and then they want to start applying. Then they want to start getting their running their credit and start the process. And by that time, right, who knows where things will be at? So you want to, like you said, you want to have all your documentation in. Want to get qualified already because when the rates do drop, you can just pull the trigger and not have to wait on anything. So
when customers say rates are going down, I say, well, that's a mistake. That's a verb, going. They're not going anywhere today. They are where they are today. Tomorrow they'll be somewhere else. Yeah. They're going to go to wherever that is. It could be up or down. We don't know. If you knew, when people know with certainty, you could then bet on the commodity market. You make more money doing that than what your job is if you really know rates are going down. Yeah. Oh, they went down. That's a different story. Does that mean they'll continue to go down or not? It's kind of like Vegas. You win a couple of hands. Does that mean you're going to win the next hand? The reason why there's a lot of casinos is people go, oh, yeah, I'll win the next hand too. And then they take your money and they build a casino with your money. So that's why.
Or you're going back to win it back because you lost.
Well, that's another good strategy. We don't win my money back. And again, that's why they have casinos. What they don't have are buildings built by people who won at the casino. The people who build the buildings are the casinos. So do the math on that one, figure out, does it make sense? Now, I'm not saying not to go to Vegas. We go there from time to time and have fun and entertainment and all that. But don't think you're going to outbeat the guys who are building these massive casinos because they're in the business of taking customers' money and building casinos. That's their job. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. And they're good at it.
Apparently, good enough to build huge buildings in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip. I mean, I was around long enough when half of that was desert. Literally half the strip when we started going when we first married was still undeveloped, raw desert land. And we've been around so long now that they built big casinos And then those got old and they knocked those down and built bigger casinos on that same spot. So why? Because people go there and bet thinking they're going to beat the casino, and they're taking desert land and building second generation huger casinos on top of the prior casinos. So, but with real estate, you own that, and it seems to only go up over time. Historically, it's gone up over time. Plus, you get preferred tax benefits. So there you go. Shannon, let's wrap up here real quick. I know Patricia has to go and I got to run. Shannon, if someone wants more information on the loan or getting qualified or strategies or just to talk to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, my phone number is 661-317-8484 or my Instagram, FUND Fun with Shannon.
Every time you say that, I want to laugh. I'm sorry. Okay, inside joke. And Patricia Castillo, if someone want to get a hold of you or just generally wants more Patricia in their life, what's the best way?
Yes. So my cell number 323-365-9909.
And she answers the cell phone. If you call her, she'll pick it up or she'll text you back right away. So definitely get a hold of her. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate. Really enjoy doing this. If whether you're on your first home or your next home, we're here. We broadcast this every Friday. If you have questions, put questions in the comment section or email or text any of us, and we'd love to have your input and make the show better. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week.